Okay, Sean, I'm going to begin. Let me start by welcoming everyone. What's that? Oh, drag it. Okay. Oh. Okay. So are you able to hear me, everyone? Thank you. Is everyone able to hear? Okay, great. So let's begin. Hello, everyone. My name is Louise, reference specialist with the St. Louis County Library. Welcome and thank you for joining this virtual program, Small Business Administration Overview, a part of the Small Business and Nonprofit Expo. Names of attendees, all of you, will be entered into a drawing for the prize of the day. Today's prize is a Bluetooth conference speaker. A link to a survey will appear in the chat at the end of the program. By completing the survey, you enter a raffle to win a $15 Amazon gift card, and winners will be notified by email. This program is a webinar and will be recorded. Microphones are muted and video cameras are turned off. The closed caption function has been enabled for your convenience. Use the chat or question and answer, which I see you've all found easily, to engage and ask questions. Questions will be answered during, if not at the end of the presentation. Our presenter today has a very interesting background. And I will share that with you in just one moment. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so Sean's background is very interesting. He has worked in a variety of federal positions for the past 10 years, including Peace Corps in Ukraine as a teacher, Department of State as a diplomat in Belize, Mexico, and DC. He's from Hartsburg, Missouri, the home of the Pumpkin Fest, and he works in Columbia, Missouri for the Small Business Administration St. Louis District. He received his MBA from Jacksonville University and his undergraduate from Flagler College in Florida. Sean, if you'll correct that name of that college, I'm not sure I pronounced that.
It is close enough, Flagler.
Flagler, okay.
Yeah, but it was good. It was good.
Hello and welcome, Sean.
Hi, thank you very much to the St. Louis County Library. Thank you to everybody attending. Having some issues sharing my screen and my camera, but so I will just kind of talk over what the Small Business Administration is and what we do and what we can offer everyone. If you have any questions or anything that's confusing that I may say during the presentation, you should all be able to use the chat feature. So you can go ahead and type it in there. If you have a question, I'll try to answer that during or at the end of the presentation. It shouldn't take too long to discuss what we have. It looks like we got about 11 people on today. So again, thank you very much for joining. So I do work for the Small Business Administration, the St. Louis District Office. I am located in Columbia, Missouri. It's the alternative work site, but I represent St. Louis, and the way the SBA is kind of kind of setup is we have district offices all throughout the country. In Missouri, there's two. There's one in St. Louis, Missouri, and there's one in Kansas City. And the state's kind of cut in half. So we represent Eastern Missouri, and then Kansas City represents Western Missouri. Depending on where you fall or what county you fall in, that's how you know which district office to contact and how they can help you or directly assist you. The main goals of the Small Business Administration, we are a federal agency, so we are funded by taxpayers' money. And our goal is to help small businesses in any way we can, and that includes starting, growing, expanding, and especially right now recovering with the COVID-19 pandemic, which has been difficult on all businesses. And we've had a plethora of programs such as the Paycheck Protection Program or the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, which is ending December 31st. So I highly encourage you, if you are interested in some working capital, to apply for that program before the end date of December 31st, 2021. We basically work through our resource partner network. So there's over 1,400 locations of what we would call our resource partners. And what resource partners means is that they are funded by the Small Business Administration, which is funded by the federal government. And those resource partners are there to help you in any way they can. You can find them if you go to sba.gov and you go to local assistance, and all you have to do is type in your zip code. And when you do that, it'll kind of list the different ones that pop up and your local SBA district office. And it'll have their contact information, how to find them. So I'm going to kind of talk about the different types of resource partners and their strengths or what they can help you with. So one of the first ones I would like to talk about is SCORE. SCORE is awesome. The reason SCORE is awesome is that they are basically business mentors. And in business, it's kind of difficult to find a competitor to share knowledge of the business that you're in or that you would like to get into, because they're going to be your competitor and they don't want to share kind of the trade secrets. But with SCORE, what they do is match you up with somebody in your same field or in a similar area of business to mentor you and give you advice on what you can be doing, what you should be doing, kind of what to look out for. So for example, if you have a restaurant or bar, they would pair you up with a former or current restaurant owner or bar owner, and they would guide you and give you mentorship through the process and give you ideas on how to improve or help your business. So that's what SCORE does. And you can find SCORE if you go to score.org. They're all throughout the country. They have one in St. Louis. There's one, their headquarters is Lake of the Ozarks, but they're everywhere. They're really a great resource. And again, they're funded by the Small Business Administration, all free. All these services I'm talking about are almost all free. A few of these might have some course that might cost a little money to register for, but almost all the programs and help they offer is free because they are funded by the Small Business Administration. Another great one is our Small Business Development Centers. Those are located everywhere. There's one here at the Missouri University. There's one in St. Louis. The head is Kevin Wilson. They know everything about small businesses, and they're really great for on helping getting started or growing. And they provide low-cost training on all topics related to business, whether that's creating a business plan, whether that's how to get funding, or just any type of question you may have. They're there to help, and they'll work with you from start to finish with your business to make sure it's successful. Another one, a resource partner that is excellent is called the Women's Business Centers. Don't let the name fool you. They do target and specialize in women businesses, but they also help male or gender neutral, whatever you may consider yourself. They will assist, and they are another organization that offer a variety of topics in multiple languages, such as Espanol or English. And they offer counseling, and they can help level the playing field against unique challenges or obstacles. As you know, there are shortfalls when it comes to minority business owners and other resources available to them. The Women's Business Center are experts and kind of help you along the way for a level playing field. Again, all these resource partners can be found at that local assistance on sba.gov. You just type in your zip code and you can contact them directly to set up consultations or meetings. Women's Business Center is also excellent in helping you find grant money or loans that may be available to your specific market. And the other one I would like to talk about briefly is our Veterans Business Outreach Centers. In St. Louis, it's called VetBiz, but they are a Veterans Business Outreach Center, and they specialize in counseling and transition assistance. So you have to be a veteran or a spouse of a veteran to kind of qualify for the Veterans Business Outreach Centers, but they'll offer training and advice to start or grow your business or purchase a new business. They'll provide resource referrals, and there's a lot of special programs out there for veterans, such as federal contracting and other things like that, that they specialize in helping business owners become aware of or take advantage of. And then lastly, another one I'll talk about is your local small business administration office. So like I said, in Missouri, there's one in St. Louis, and there's one in Kansas City. We have alternative work sites in Springfield and in Columbia, Missouri. But your small business administration is here to help. For example, economic injury disaster loans. We're a good source of information for that. We provide weekly webinars regarding that. We have our St. Louis District webpage. It offers calendar events of all our events that are happening and a contact list, and you can sign up for a newsletter there to get the most up-to-date information about small business administration comings and goings. So one of the main goals of the Small Business Administration is helping your business grow and expand. One of the ways that we try to help do that is through the world of federal contracting. If you have a small business, you may not know that the world's largest customer of contracting is the federal government, and is required by law to provide contract opportunities to small businesses. You can find out more information at sba.gov/contracting. I believe my colleagues, Gary Alexander and Nikki Masi, did a presentation, was it yesterday, on federal contracting. They are experts in that area, and you can reach out to them directly. And you can find their information at the SBA.gov St. Louis District Office. And they can help evaluate your readiness. With federal contracting, it can be a very difficult process and quite bureaucratic, but it is well worth it. But they can kind of help you with marketability, structure and experience, systems and capacity, and ability to find contracts. Another really great resource is your PTAC, basically procurement technical centers. And what they do is kind of help you in finding federal contracts and get you registered on SAM, and just kind of give you suggestions on where to start and how to go through the process. And that's another resource partner of the Small Business Administration. And I'll talk a little bit about them more later. So to qualify for federal contracts with certifications, the SBA works with federal agencies to award at least 23% of all prime government contracting dollars each year to small businesses that are certified with our various contracting programs. And those are our 8A business development program. I don't know if you guys know our district director, but our district director is Maureen Brinkley. She's been with the Small Business Administration for a long time. She's kind of the guru who helped create the 8A business development program. Another area is the historically underutilized business zones, or the hub zone program, women-owned small businesses, or WOSB program, and then service disabled veteran-owned programs are some of those contracting programs that the federal government is required to purchase from each year. And that is a significant amount of contracts that the federal government does each year. Another program we have is the Mentor Protege program. And you can gain valuable business development insight from mentors who are experienced government contractors. And mentors can help you strategize, navigate, and manage contracts by securing the appropriate business financial system resources and financial assistance. So again, this kind of pairs you with a competitor and will help level the playing field. And to find out more information about the Mentor Protege program, you can go to sba.gov and go to the Mentor Protege webpage, and it'll give you some information on the steps to take for that. So with the procurement technical centers, I talked about them a little bit just a few moments ago, but they'll determine if your business is ready for federal contracting. One of those big things is registering with SAM. They'll help you register in the proper places, and they'll see if you're eligible for the certifications. And they also have access to seeing who's receiving those government contracts, what type of businesses they're in, and things of that nature. So they're a great resource if you're looking to get into federal contracting. I would highly recommend reaching out to PTAC. Jamie Mitchell's the head in St. Louis, and Chris Bochting is the one here in Columbia. But they will talk to you directly and give you counseling on how to do that if you are interested in that. Another big thing the Small Business Administration does is access to capital. So there's a variety of SBA-backed loans. Some of the major loans or the loan programs that we do have are our more traditional loan programs, or the 7A loan program. And 7A loans can be used for a variety of purposes. For example, startups, working capital, inventory, things of that nature. And then we have something called our 504 loans, and those are more like an economic development loan. You're supposed to help the economy by the 504 loans, and that means adding jobs, but those are used for like heavy equipment, upgrading buildings, buying land, improving parking lots. And those are more long-term loans with a lower interest rate. And those are our 504 loans. The way to kind of get those loans is for the 7A loans, those are provided by our banking partners. So those are done by private banks, but they're guaranteed by the SBA, and that means they're more likely to approve those loans. And with the 504 loans, those are done through our CDCs, certified development companies. And those are kind of like nonprofit banks that offer the 504 loans. Another loan program we have are our microloans, and those go up to $50,000. And those can be used for almost anything. And those are done through our CDFCs. And the only one who does do microloans in the St. Louis area is an organization called Justine Peterson, a nonprofit organization. But the nice thing with microloans is they kind of walk you from start to finish and guide you once you do have that loan on how to best use that. So those are our SBA-backed loans. As I said, we've had a variety of COVID programs. We've had our Paycheck Protection Program, which was done through banks, but it was guaranteed by SBA. We have our Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Those are done directly through the SBA. And like I said, those are ending on 12/31/2021, but they are still open for applications. And it is extremely low interest rate, 3.75% for profit, and it's even open to nonprofits at 2.75%. So you're not going to find anything out there with a lower loan rate with a 30-year repayment period and 2 years of deferment for that. Some other funding options are private investors that SBA has a network of. There's an R&D awarded funds, and that's just research and development, and that's our SBIR and STTR programs. Those are grants, and that's a kind of a complicated topic, but if you're in the tech field or you want to work with other federal agencies, they offer SBIR and STTR programs. And those are grants made available to people usually developing technology that the federal government is interested in, and they'll offer you a grant, which is not needed to be paid back. And then the other big one is something called surety bonds. And to be a big company or in contracting or construction or almost any big business, you're going to need to get bonded. And the SBA does provide surety bonds at a very reasonable rate through our organizations. So I talked a little bit about our loans, but how can an SBA-backed loan help you? They can launch, grow, or repair a startup. You can start or purchase a small business. It offers access to revolving credit or working capital for day-to-day expenses. You can purchase, renovate, or expand facilities, kind of with that 504 loan or the 7A loan. A lot of things are interchangeable with the 7A 504. You can purchase inventory, equipment, or machinery, purchase land or real estate, export a product or service. We have export-specific loans if you are interested in exporting. Everybody is always like, well, how do I get an SBA-backed loan? Because SBA-backed loans or our 7A 504 or microloans usually have lower interest rates compared to private bank loans. So the best process to go about that is you're going to need a solid business plan. You're going to need expense sheets and financial statements and financial projections before you even talk to the bank. And a good way to kind of prepare for all those things is to work with our resource partners that I described earlier. Some people have all this prepared already. If that's the scenario and you are looking for a SBA-backed loan, that's great. But if you do not have these, I highly recommend working with our resource partners to help prepare you. We do have a new feature. It's called Lender Match, and it's great. I've tried it. It's on SBA.gov, and you go to Lender Match, and you fill out some forms real quickly. And what it does is you describe your needs. An interested lender will reply within 2 days, and then you can talk to those lenders that have responded to you, and you can apply for a loan. So you don't have to do any searching. This will automatically pair you with the banks. A more traditional method of figuring out who our SBA lenders are is you can go to our St. Louis District webpage, and we have our resource magazine, and they're all listed on there for the specific counties for our district, and all those banks there do provide SBA-backed loans. We don't recommend one or the other. One suggestion we do have is if you are using a bank and you do like them, talk to them and see if they do provide SBA-backed loans if you are interested, and they'll kind of work with you on the eligibility and requirements that are needed. With the 7A loan, that can be used for refinancing previous loans. One of the rules of the thumb is if their rates and things like that are nowhere near the SBA rates, then that is consideration. But if they're kind of similar, then you shouldn't be refinancing. But that's just a little side note on those 7A loans. They can be used for refinancing purposes in certain occasions. There's a few ways that we do determine your creditworthiness. For all these loans, we do want to get that money back, because if the bank's not paid because they are guaranteed by the SBA does have to pay that back. So we have a 5 C's model. And so it's basically based off your character, your cash flow, collateral, capitalizations, and conditions. So that's what we call the 5 C's. Character is basically sound credit report, steady payment history, criminal record, things like that. Cash flow is basically, do you pay all of their existing business and personal expenses? Do you have collateral? That's basically what type of business and personal assets do you have? Because like I said, we do want you to be able to pay these back. And capitalizations is your retained earnings, owner's equity, and other collateral. And then conditions is basically, do you have the ability to repay the loan, and is your business model sound, and are your financial projections accurate? And then for direct lending, SBA has always done disaster loans. A little while ago, there was severe flooding in Cole County and Boone County. SBA does offer disaster loans. Hurricanes, we do offer disaster loans for damaged homes or businesses. We directly lend to areas that are considered disaster loans. And this is a huge part of the SBA, and what we do in these disaster loans are at very low rates. The EIDL loan that I've talked about is considered a disaster loan and has a very low interest rate of 3.75%. It's considered a disaster loan because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and has been a very popular program since its inception shortly after the pandemic. So some SBA disaster assistance loans can revolve around real estate, machinery, equipment, inventory, active duty military, economic injury, and personal property are some of the main points where an economic disaster loan can be used. So that's just a really brief and quick overview of the Small Business Administration and kind of what we do, and the important facts that I thought were important to discuss with you. If there's any questions, I'll get to that right now. And you can put those in the chat, or I think there may even be a question feature that you can use. And let me get to those, see if we got anything in the chat here.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Sean, do you see Evelyn's question? What is the name of the working capital assistance ending 12/31/21?
Yeah. Let me had my little PowerPoint up. I'm closing it right now.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me get to attendees here. Question chat. Here we go. What is the name? Oh yeah. So yeah, that's the economic injury disaster loan. And let me give you some more specific information on that. I've been doing a lot of work with the economic injury disaster loan. Let me type into where you can go to actually get some better information on that as well.
I've been adding links as you've been speaking so people can go right to what you're discussing, and I'll enter this one as well.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. So yeah, it's called the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. And that is available until December 31st, 2021. As long as your application is in by that date, they will be reviewed. And the process to apply for that is you will go to sba.gov/EIDL. You have to apply with the SBA. You have to apply online. And there's some helpful information at sba.gov/EIDL once you click EIDL, and it will give you directions on if you're eligible. So there's basically a questionnaire there's about 21 questions. If you answer yes to 1 through 18, I believe you're ineligible. But once you fill out that questionnaire, then it'll take you to the application. And there's a guide before you even start this. So it's about 18 pages of who's eligible, how you can use the funds, how do you actually apply. It's an FAQ. You would go to that. I would read that before, and then you can apply. There's a few other requirements. Your business had to be in business before January 2020. So you can't be a brand new business. You had to have suffered some working capital loss due to COVID-19 is another requirement to be eligible for the economic injury disaster loan, which I think almost 90% of all businesses can show during that period of time. And you have to submit certain taxes. The loan amount was under $2 million. Now it's basically calculated based on 12 months of your gross revenue. Times 2 minus your cost of goods sold. So, and it goes all the way up to $2 million. So a business, depending on the amount of their gross revenue during basically 2019, or I think there are some circumstances where you can use other years, but that's what determines the amount of money you may be eligible for. So again, it's a wonderful program, especially with that interest rate. 3.75%, and it's one of the only programs that's open to nonprofits. I think our microloans, some nonprofits are eligible for the microloans, but our 7A and 504 loans, those are only eligible for profit businesses. So I hope that answers your question a little bit about the economic injury disaster loan, but it's kind of a once in a lifetime thing. It is ending soon. I don't think it will be continuing. I think legislation has not been created for that. So I see another question. Can I go a little more into mentorship? Yeah, definitely. So one of our best mentorship programs is through SCORE. So SCORE is an organization that is funded directly through the Small Business Administration. And you can reach out to SCORE and set up a consultation. I've done it before. My father, I remember when I was a little kid, my father had a small business, a video store, a video rental store. He didn't know about Small Business Administration. That probably would have been a good idea, but it wasn't the best business to go into because about a year or two later, Netflix came out and a few other things. And the business did not fare well. But things like SCORE can kind of help and give you guidance on that and somebody in the same field. So SCORE is one option. And I would recommend reaching out to them for mentorship. And then we have something called the mentorship program. And I'm not a definite expert on that, but you have to be in business a certain amount of years. Your income or your gross revenue in your business has to be under a certain amount, and they'll pair you with another business and who is more experienced and has a higher gross revenue and things like that. And to be eligible for that program, you have to do a few different things, but you can go to sba.gov and go to the mentorship program, and they'll give you the specific details on how to do that. And that's a little more difficult, but SCORE is probably one of the easiest and best mentorship programs we have. So reach out to SCORE and set up a consultation meeting, and they'll pair you with somebody. All right. Let's see here. I'm going to see if there's any more questions here.
Sean, what was the 5th C in your listing? Character, cash flow. What were the 5 C's again?
Yeah. The last C basically is just stating your ability to repay back that loan. So conditions, I believe. So we want you to be able to repay your loan. So right. Basically looking at the conditions to see if you're able to do that. So that's the last C.
So could you go over all 5 then? Character, cash flow.
Yeah. Let me pull up my little slide here to get back to that.
Okay, sure.
So for the determination of your creditworthiness, the SBA and the lenders are looking into the 5 C's models. And our resource partners have a lot of experience with this, and specifically the SBDCs and our women's business centers and veteran business outreach centers can all work with you in detail on how to kind of prepare for the 5 C's. But the specific 5 C's are character. And character is just basically, are you a good person? You know,
Right.
do you have a sound credit? I'm not saying my credit is great. That doesn't make you a good person, but they'll look
Sure.
into your credit report. Do you have a steady payment history? Also, do you have any criminal records? There's sometimes a 5 or 10 year, you know, if you've had certain things happen in that amount of time, then that can affect your character. The next C is called cash flow. So, and that's basically, do you have adequate cash flow to repay your loan? So do you pay all other existing business and personal expenses? What buffer of that goes out on your expenses, and what comes in on revenue? So if you do have a current business, basically, how are your sales doing? Things of that nature. And the next third C is collateral. So what type of collateral you have? So depending on the amount you apply for, we do require collateral or UCC1 or even real estate, depending if you go over, I think, $500,000. And a personal guarantee, I think, is if you're over $200,000. And then if you're over $25,000, that's when you need a UCC1. So depending on the size of the loan, but it kind of differs on each program, but that's just an overview. So what type of collateral do you have? Businesses and your personal assets are going to be used for certain types of loans. A really good contact, if you want like specifics on this stuff, is our Thomas Diber. And he's our lead lender relations specialist with the St. Louis District Office. And he's a wealth of knowledge, former VP of a bank. He knows his stuff, and his information can be found on the St. Louis District webpage. But he is a really good resource for specifics relating to the kind of the requirements for loans for the 504, 7A, and microloans.
How do you spell his last name, please?
Yeah, it's Daiber is his last name, and his title is Lead Lender Relations Specialist.
Okay, I will send a link to that, the St. Louis office.
Yeah, and I know he's worked with the St. Louis County Library a few times. So
okay.
And then the next one is capitalizations. So do you have capitalizations? So what are your business assets, your retained earnings, your owner's equity, and all other collateral? So debt against collateral plus liquid holdings and earnings. Banks want to know if you have basically skin in the game. So you need to be taking some kind of risk so that it's not all on the bank or the SBA guarantee. So that is important. And that's basically what capitalizations means, and a brief overview for that. And then the last one are there outside conditions? So see conditions that will affect your ability to repay the loan. So I know a big one, I've been talking to some bankers lately, and before finding employees wasn't a big deal. It's like, oh, we'll hire these people. And a lot of business plans like, oh, we're going to hire people, we'll work 24/7. We'll have people at night or during the day. Those are just some examples, but there wasn't as much thought into just hiring people. But now banks are like, oh, how are you going to hire these people? What are you going to pay them? What are your plan? How are you going to keep them working? Things like that. So that's just an example of how conditions change. And that's been one of the big changes, is just finding employees for your business. And if you've actually been realistic in your ability to find them in creating your business plan, if you are starting a business, or if you're trying to grow that business. That's just an example of a recent condition that's kind of rocked small businesses lately.
Thank you, Sean.
All right.
So apparently I had not had it marked to go to everyone, but panelists and hosts. So as you were speaking and referring to different things, I was sending the exact link. And now I'm sending them to everyone.
Oh, good. Good.
Okay,
All right, cool.
so people should have everything. Let's see. let's see if there's any other questions. Mentorship, you saw that. Do you see any other questions, Sean?
Uh, bu- 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 bu. I see something about info on insurance for businesses. To be honest, Evelyn, I am not an expert and do not know, but I'm sure our small business development centers and our women's business centers and SCORE will have some great advice on insurance and what's appropriate. I know SCORE does have a host of former business lawyers that are on their team and have a lot of experience with items like that. So I would recommend reaching out to one of our resource partners and setting up a consultation. And they probably can pair you and somebody who's in a similar field and has had to go through that before and will know what type of insurance you might need for your business or liability and things like that.
Thank you, Sean. What I'd like to do is provide links for people to our website to get library cards, because much of the information is accessible when you have a library card. So I'm going to put the links in for that.
Yeah, and then maybe the St. Louis County Library can, I know that they have a ton of resources too for small businesses and offering training
Yes.
and all sorts of great stuff. So maybe they can talk a little bit about what they do and what they can do for small businesses. And I know they've been a great advocate for small businesses. I've been with SBA a little over a year, but I know Tom Diber and Nikki Massey and my district director, Maureen Brickley, and even our Trish Freeland, our public affairs specialist, all speak very highly of the St. Louis County Library and what they are
Thank
doing
you.
for the small business community and even people who do want to start a small business. So I'll pass it over for a minute or two. And maybe you guys can talk a little bit about what you guys can do.
Thank you, Sean. Angela, are you on the call? I don't think she is present. So I need to just send the links to people. And I'm going to send a link to the survey. We have a variety of resources for people regarding small business and entrepreneurship, and databases to locate businesses and even possible competitors in various fields, ways to look up companies. So we have a lot of resources, and we have a small business specialist, and her name is Angela, and I think she was temporarily logged in. I saw her enter, but I don't see her on the call now. So she was going to give an overview. So I'm not sure if she had difficulty connecting. Let's see. Do you have any other questions or comments, Sean?
No, I do not. I just would like to thank everybody for taking some time out of their day. I know everybody's busy and I appreciate it. Thanks for listening to me about the Small Business Administration. I highly recommend signing up for our newsletter at sba.gov, the St. Louis District specific webpage. And thank you so much for being here. Sorry, I couldn't get the PowerPoint working or my camera working, but hopefully I spoke clearly enough. And happy early holidays and have a great day. So if there's no other questions, I think that's it.
Thank you for your presentation, Sean. I just want to tell everybody St. Louis County Library has many resources and services to assist with starting and managing a small business or nonprofit. And as I referred to before, a library card is needed to access most of the resources. You can sign up for a library card using the link I just entered in the chat, and a card will be mailed to you. a link to a survey I just entered also in the chat. Remember to complete the survey today for a chance to win a $15 Amazon gift card. Thank you for joining this program and for your participation in our Small Business and Nonprofit Expo. Thank you so much for all the information you provided, Sean. We really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
All right. Yeah, no, thank you, especially the St. Louis County Library for helping put this together. I appreciate it. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks
Bye.
again.